This week, Arnold Schwarzenegger battles the Prince of Darkness to prevent the end of days.
And tough guy Robert De Niro gets to know an unconventional neighbor in Flawless.
Also, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen are back as Woody and Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story 2. Arnold Schwarzenegger has a showdown with the devil in End of Days, a supernatural thriller that's one of 5 movies we're going to be reviewing this week. I'm Roger Ebert, film critic for the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Joel Siegel, film critic on Good Morning America, ABC TV.
Nice to have you back, Joel.
Glad to be here.
I've just returned myself from the Calcutta Film Festival.
Did you win?
That's an interesting question. Okay, our first movie is End of Days, Arnold Schwarzenegger's first movie in 2 years. And in the Schwarzenegger tradition, it involves a helicopter chase, an exploding subway train, fireballs over Manhattan, and an apparently invincible villain who, in this case, is the devil himself. It also involves a transcendentally goofy premise, which is that every 1,000 years, Satan gets exactly 1 hour in which to impregnate a woman with the Antichrist, which would, of course, bring about the end of days.
So, the men that attacked me are devil worshippers?
No. This says they're the good guys. They're the ones that's supposed to stop the devil worshippers.
Those were the good guys? What does that have to do with me?
Schwarzenegger plays an alcoholic bodyguard who stumbles into war with the devil, and Satan is seen as kind of a shimmering spirit until he occupies the body of Gabriel Byrne and tries to persuade Schwarzenegger to join his team.
Let me tell you something about him. He is the biggest underachiever of all time. He's just a good publicist, that's all. Something good happens, it's his will. Something bad happens, he moves in mysterious ways. You take that overblown press kit they call the Bible, you look for the answer in there. What did they tell you?
And if an explanation like that isn't enough, how about when Father Rod Steiger tells Schwarzenegger that the devil has to do his work between 11 p.m. and midnight exactly on the last day of the millennium, and Arnold asks,
So the Prince of Darkness wants to conquer the earth, but he has to wait until an hour before midnight of New Year's Eve. This is Eastern time?
But then what can you expect in a movie where the Prince of Darkness is opposed by a suicidal alcoholic security guard and the outcome is in doubt? End of Days has enough fireballs, stunts, and special effects to entertain people who go in for that sort of thing, but the story is a traffic jam of half-baked theology, and the characters, frankly, seem as bewildered as we are.
You know, I really liked this movie until I just heard your review. I agree. It's goofy, it's silly, it's million-dollar effects and 20-cent theology. But what struck me watching it as a New Yorker was the absolute reality of it all.
Reality?
Reality. Here they are. The devil is going to end the world, fighting for the end of the world as we know it, and 2 blocks away, 2 million New Yorkers are partying like it's 1999.
You know, I just sat there looking at holes in the plot. For example, when it's explained that the Gregorians invented their calendar on the basis of the fact that Satan does this every 1,000 years. And I'm thinking, but how did they pick the eastern time zone of the United States in a city that didn't exist 1,000 years ago, on a continent that hadn't been discovered, and its existence would depend upon the heresy that the earth went around the sun, which of course they were forbidden to believe. Those Gregorians are really very clever. I mean, I'm thinking all the way through the movie that the more logic you apply to stuff like this,
that's the problem.
And that's why I like Dogma better than this film, because Dogma had fun with the logic, and in this film we're sitting there thinking, come on now, the devil is going to play by these rules. You know, what if his clock is 3 minutes slow? Does that mean no Antichrist or what?
That's the problem. You're thinking when you're watching an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
That has been my problem historically. Actually, I like a lot of his films, but not this one.
I did. Our next film, Tumbleweeds, a big winner at Sundance. I think we'll reverse on this one, Roger. There's Oscar buzz about it. Star Janet McTeer, which is remarkable for a small independent film. In fact, I may be the only person in America who didn't like Tumbleweeds. If you saw it in Sundance, you saw it before you saw Anywhere But Here, which is exactly the same film, only better. But I saw it after. And to me, Tumbleweeds is deja vu all over again, and not nearly as good.
Hi! Bob! You gotta get rid of the old, bring in the new. Now just throw it out. You're making me... It's a new life, baby. It's a new life.
A mom and her daughter driving cross country on a lonely road. Where do they find these lonely roads? It's impossible to drive across America and never hit an interstate.
Well, you want to look at this?
Yeah, thank you.
You got yourself a broken hose.
Oh, shoot. Well, what can we do? Can you fix it?
Yeah, I can trim it for you. I'll stick it back on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's Janet McTeer, about whom the Oscar buzz checking out the furniture. Gavin O'Connor, the co-writer, director, and executive producer, cast himself as the hunk. I guess he was the best-looking guy he could find. Young Kimberly Brown plays her daughter, and even though it's her first trip west, she's been here before.
I'm just trying to get organized. I'm just trying to liven the place up a little bit. This place was screaming for some attention.
Yeah, well, my lazy boy wasn't screaming for any attention. Is there a reason why I went from the den to the living room?
Because there's a better reading light in there.
It's my lazy boy, Joe. I sit and watch TV. It's my TV chair.
Why put the couch in front of the TV?
Yeah, I know, with a white sheet on it.
No.
And when she wants to leave San Diego and take off one more time, it's the daughter, in a very well-played scene, who forces her mother to grow up.
I'm not going out here with all of you, okay?
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. You're going to meet it with some other ass. You're going to say it's going to last for a long time, and if not, we're going to end it just like we are right now, okay? And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of chasing after roses with you. I'm sick of going everywhere with you, and I'm sick of you. Ava!
Very nice acting, but anywhere but here, Susan Sarandon catches Natalie Portman mimicking her neuroses. A breathtaking scene. They really are the same movie. They both drive west. The mom's the kid, the daughter's the grown-up. They both collect furniture from the garbage. Here's where they're different. In Anywhere But Here, they drive to Beverly Hills. In Tumbleweeds, it's San Diego. Susan Sarandon gets a job as a teacher. Janet McTeer gets a job answering the phone. Both moms reject really decent guys for bums, but McTeer's bum is a truck driver. Sarandon's is an orthodontist. Tumbleweeds is the trailer trash version of Anywhere But Here, and I didn't like that one, though I love the performances. Thumbs down.
So you didn't like Anywhere But Here either? Because I like both films, and I think that although they're similar, they're different. I mean, I saw this one after I saw Anywhere But Here. I didn't see it at Sundance. And I love the feeling of this movie. It's nittier and grittier than Anywhere But Here. It does have the same basic plot, but nevertheless, why not? I mean, you can't penalize this movie because somebody made another movie, especially
coming out
when you
one-
see how juicy those performances
But
are.
coming out a week after, why didn't they hold it back? And I have another
Well, there's a
problem
Hollywood
with it.
tradition. They always release 6 versions of the same movie within the same 2-week period. That's an unwritten law of Hollywood.
Another problem with the accents. For some reason, anybody can do a Southern accent. My wife is from North Carolina. She talks like that. These people don't. If you can't do a Southern accent, make them come from
It
Indiana.
didn't bother me. I never thought of it for a second. I
Well,
didn't see that.
where's Chaz from?
Chicago.
There you go. Where? My wife's from North Carolina.
well,
I know that accent.
In that case, your wife should be reviewing the movie. I'm telling you, this movie did work for me. I think McTeer is a possibility for Oscar consideration. Why not? I just liked the entire feeling of the film.
I was right. We did disagree on both these films.
Okay, coming up later in the show, the toys are back around town in Toy Story 2.
It isn't a real rescue without Buzz Lightyear.
Coming up next, Robert De Niro faces unexpected challenges in Flawless.
What you got there? Love letters? Looks more like a Dear John letter to me.
Hey, everybody needs love, honey.
All I need is a John.
Robert De Niro plays a retired security guard named Walt in that clip who lives in a Fleabag hotel and doesn't get along with the drag queens in the building in that scene from Joel Schumacher's Flawless. And there you see Walt before he suffers a stroke that slows him down and seriously affects his speech. One of his neighbors is a female impersonator named Rusty, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman. And then in an early montage, the film cuts back and forth between the two men as they prepare to go out for the evening. Then Walt has his stroke and experiences a lot of difficulty in talking. His physical therapist suggests that he gets singing lessons, and Walt reluctantly pays Rusty a visit.
Well, pretty little Miss No Talent, who was playing the Snow Queen, dashed off the stage screaming and pulling her hair out. Well, the play must go on, I believe, and she had dropped a crown. Well, honey, I just picked up that crown. put it on my head, and I was the greatest snow queen in the history of PS11, Paramus, New Jersey.
De Niro's performance is a technical challenge and flawless, since for most of the movie he can't talk clearly or walk very well. But of course, despite having chosen to make this movie, the studio now tries to obscure the subject by not providing any clips of De Niro's slurred speech. Philip Seymour Hoffman, who played the dirty phone caller in Happiness, gives a performance here that creates a nice, bittersweet rhythm with De Niro in a film that's perhaps just a little too colorful in its characters and settings to be believable. It works as a fable about how the drag queen, an outcast himself, is able to see through the tough guy's facade and identify with his suffering. And at one point he says to him, well, you're not having any trouble with the F sound.
That is the flaw in Flawless. The flaw is it's a little bit over the top. It's a little bit more 70s and 80s than it is 1990s. But I like this film.
I did too.
Joel Schumacher wrote the script. I think this may be the first script he's written since Car Wash. And he weaves three stories very, very well together. And their performances, De Niro's performance and Philip Seymour Hoffman, what a performance.
I did love these performances, and I love the fact that De Niro, who was a great technical actor, probably took this role because he wanted to try talking like that. And the fact that the studio isn't giving us anything more than 2 or 3 words where we can actually hear De Niro talking is shameful.
My favorite story, when they came out with The Fan with Lauren Bacall. Lauren Bacall hadn't made a movie in 20 years. You wanted to know what she looked like. No clips of Lauren Bacall, of course.
The publicists always give you the clips of the movie they think the studio should have made.
That's right. And coming up next, clips of a movie I'm glad they made. Buzz Lightyear to infinity and beyond in Toy Story 2.
Don't talk to any toy you don't know!
Drop!
Yes, it's Toy Story 2. Amazing all-computer animation, even better than the original. In fact, the whole movie is better than the original, and the original was great. And why are these toys crossing the road? That's right, to get to the other side.
Drop! Go!
And why do they have to get to the other side? Because they think that's where Woody is. Woody has been kidnapped by an evil toy collector. Even Woody doesn't know it, but he once had his own TV series. He's a very rare toy. Reunited with his horse and his sidekick and his cowgirl pal, he's on his way to a toy museum in Tokyo. Unless Buzz Lightyear can get there first.
Hold on!
Al's Toy Barn.
Toy barn?
Yeah, draw that man in a chicken suit.
It's the Chicken Man!
Great premise, a great script. The setups pay off, the subplots all work, the interior gags are brilliant. Touring a toy store looking for Woody, Mattel wouldn't allow Barbie in the original. They changed their mind.
I'm tour guide Barbie. Please keep your hands, arms, and accessories inside the car and no flash photography. Thank you.
I'm a married spud, I'm a married spud, I'm a married spud. For the single fellas.
Technically, the animation is, I'll say it again, amazing. Look at the skin tone on Evil Al, jaw-droppingly real. Randy Newman wrote a song that, I'll say it, after a dozen nominations, will finally win him his Oscar.
Somebody loved me. Everything was beautiful. Every hour spent together lives within my heart.
And of course, the stars are back. Tim Allen as Buzz and Tom Hanks as Woody. I love that. What makes Toy Story 2 a great kids film is the grown-up story. Will Woody stay with his new friends, really his old gang, or will he go back with Buzz to Andy's room, knowing that one day Andy will outgrow him and toss him away? Kind of tough for us parents to take, but one thing parents will love taking, their kids to see Toy Story 2.
Oh, I loved it too. And you know, kids feel such love and also guilt about their toys because they know that they just leave them around when they're not playing with them. And this movie will address that directly for the younger kids in the audience because it really has the number of how kids relate to their toys. And you know, this movie was originally going to be made straight to video. And they began to make it, and they liked the story so much, they junked everything they'd done in the straight-to-video version and started again with this theatrical version. That was the right decision, because this is a wonderful, wonderful movie. It's hard to see how lightning could strike twice, but it has.
And it's wonderful because it really is about something. It's about friendship. And it's about a parent being able to let go. It's one of my 10 best of the year.
Okay, next movie. It's called All About My Mother. This is quite a different movie from Toy Story 2. It won the Best Director Award at the Cannes Film Festival this year for Pedro Almodovar, the popular Spanish director who specializes in expeditions across the great gender divide. As the movie opens, a Madrid mother and her teenage son have just seen a production of A Streetcar Named Desire, and as they wait for the son to ask for an autograph outside the stage door, they talk about the father that he has never known.
Hace 20 años, con el grupo de mi pueblo, hacíamos una versión del tranvía. Yo hacía de Estela, tu padre de Kowalski.
Algún día tendrás que contármelo todo sobre mi padre. No basta que me digas que murió antes de que yo naciera.
No es un asunto fácil de contar.
Me imagino. Si no, ya me lo habrías contado.
Later in the film, the mother, named Manuela and played by Cecilia Roth, travels to Barcelona in search of the father and finds one of their mutual friends from the old days, a transvestite named Agrado, played by Antonio San Juan.
¿Y el Chanel este es auténtico? No, mujer, ¿cómo ya gastarme medio millón en un Chanel auténtico con la de hambre que hay en el mundo?
Agrado has been a prostitute, but now wants to go straight. Manuela thinks maybe a famous actress named Huma can provide a job.
Gracias, Manuela, pero no creo que...
Ponla a prueba unos días. No es tan bruta como parece. Sí que lo soy, Huma, y mucho. Ahora mismo, por ejemplo, no me estoy enterando de nada.
And I have carefully skirted around a few points there to avoid revealing crucial information. There are some big surprises in this film. All About My Mother is one of Almodovar's best films, and the strange thing about it is, once you get beyond the gender swapping and transvestism, it's basically a family story in which a woman seeks out the father of her child and traditional values are observed. Antonio San Juan gives the best performance in the movie as the flamboyant Agrado, who comes on strong but slows down later to reveal depth, sadness, and tenderness, and a tough comic resiliency. This is the kind of person who laughs in order not to cry. It's interesting how this film starts off with offbeat sexual material, and then it ends up socking you like an old-fashioned family melodrama.
Well, you said it. Depth, tenderness, sadness. That's what is in this film. Almodovar's earlier films have been very, very funny. This is less funny than his films, but far more powerful. It's easy to see why he won the Best Director's Prize at Cannes.
And as you watch this film, sometimes with his other films, you feel he's not really sincere, that he's kidding you and almost kidding himself. This time, he's not kidding. It's got a lot of heart to it. It's a nice film. When we come back, one of the greatest American movies of all time is my video pick of the week. In the weeks to come, there are going to be all kinds of lists of the century's best films, and one of the titles on my own list will be Apocalypse Now, Francis Ford Coppola's moody, ironic, surrealistic 1979 epic about the war in Vietnam. Martin Sheen stars as an Army captain sent upriver on a secret mission to find a maverick war hero, a colonel who was cut loose from the chain of command and set up his own private army deep in the jungle. Marlon Brando plays the mysterious Kurt, who, in my view, has been driven mad by the horror of war.
Horror and moral terror are your friends. If they are not, then they are enemies to be feared. They are truly enemies.
The greatest sequence in the film is this one, a helicopter attack by a colonel who hits a Viet Cong stronghold because it commands some great surfing waves. Robert Duvall's performance is inspired.
You smell that? Napalm, son. Nothing else in the world smells like that. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
And for its 20th anniversary, Apocalypse Now has just been released for the first time on DVD with a commentary by Coppola about the film's ending. It's my video pick of the week. Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed on this week's show. A split decision for End of Days, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger in a showdown with the devil. Joe will like the high-energy action and special effects, and I thought they were fun, but the story was hasta la vista, Satan. Another split on Tumbleweeds with Janet McTeer and Kimberly Brown. 2 thumbs up for Flawless with strong performances by Robert De Niro and Philip Seymour Hoffman. And 2 more thumbs up for the enchanting Toy Story 2. And finally, 2 thumbs up for the Cannes Festival winner, All About My Mother.
Good holiday season at the movies, and if you hadn't liked Toy Story 2, I was going to have to hit you.
Boy, am I relieved. Okay, thanks a lot for being here, Joel.
Oh, thanks,
Appreciate
Roger.
it. And remember, you can hear our reviews, both Joel's and mine, on the web at ebert-movies.com, part of Go Network. And my prim reviews are all available at suntimes.com. Next week, more new movies, including The Green Mile, starring Tom Hanks and based on a novel by Stephen King, and The End of the Affair, starring Ralph Fiennes and Julianne Moore. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.